Pimpo Haiti, the Haitian diaspora living in Haiti podcast. It's another week, another episode, another opportunity to talk shop about Haiti, what's going on, and most importantly, bring on a guest who can enlighten us, enrich us with their perspective. I'm so excited, and this is a particular special guest. But before I get into the nitty gritty, I got to bring in my soldier at arms here.
Yeah.
Pastor. How you doing?
No, Pastor Mark, doing well. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm listening. It's just being careful here in Florida. You know, we're still out here because of COVID, though we're looking to change that real soon because the borders of Haiti have finally opened back up. So I'm looking forward to get back in there. Yeah. So I know you express the same thing, and it's probably a good time to kind of mention too. You know, this is actually another reason why this is going to be such a special episode. You know, we do things on the podcast as seasons, right? And so this guest of ours is going to be our last guest of the season. So I'm super excited, as well to have to end with a bang, and you'll see why I'm saying that in a second. But because a big part of what's coming up is we're going to be back in Haiti, both Mark and I. And so season 2, just folks to know, it's going to be very much the way Mark and I always wanted to do it, which is we're going to have not only continue with the audio piece and everything, but we're also going to have that in-person, us sitting around a table and talking to our guests. And although if it's COVID still going to be happening, so we'll be careful. We'll probably be wearing masks and stuff. We'll take our precautions necessary, but at least 6 feet apart. We'll figure that out. But I'm very excited for season 2 when that happens. But we got this awesome guest we're going to be talking about, and then we're going to have a recap episode next week. So folks, don't cry just yet. We still got some content for you. So that's just a quick little bit of piece of news I wanted to share. So this guest we have, oh my goodness, this is the kind of guest that, Seejeanty, those who know what I'm about, knows this is the sort of guy who we always enjoy having on the show, in every capacity from all the different contents we sort of do, but especially to have him on the podcast today. Serial entrepreneur. He has a Yellow Pages page just to himself in terms of the businesses he has. He's a part of, he started, right? And most of them, all of them just about are in Haiti. To his name, he has over, at least one of his business lines, which is outsourcing business, has 150 plus, and each other business has dozens of folks plus. I'm sure he's going to tell us exactly the number, but he has a lot of jobs that he has to his name, job creations. And this is what the show is about, really, to help foster that thought process to get to that level. And so he's someone I'm so happy to have here on the show. And before I just keep talking about him for the rest of the duration of the podcast, let me bring him on. His name is Duequesne Fednard, and I'm sure I messed it up. Duke, come on, save me with the pronunciation.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for having me. I am a big fan of yours. I really appreciate the work that you do, the kind of contents that you're putting out there. I follow you on your podcast, on YouTube, and everything that you do. So it's a great pleasure for me to be on your podcast today. And I thank you for the invite. My name is Duquesne Fednard, and so I think you are making my head bigger than what it is already. So, but it's great to having to be part of the podcast and to share my little experience doing things in Haiti with you. Hopefully, the listeners will enjoy and will learn something from it.
Awesome. Thank you, Duquesne.
Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother Mark. I appreciate you.
Great episode. And before we get in, I just want to remind folks my Pimpo Haiti, Haitian diaspora living in Haiti podcast. We are on every platform. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're even on YouTube and Facebook on the Seejeanty channel. So however you want to consume the content, please do. And as you enjoy this conversation, share it, hit that comment, hit that like, and help us get the return on information, the ROI which is the purpose of this, to get out there. And the more folks who are more knowledgeable about how it is really in Haiti, the more chances we have to actually impact a change that's going to be lasting, generational, and real, right? So, Duke, listen, it's again, so happy to have you. Now, for folks need to understand really the journey that has gotten you to where you are right now, where you're impacting? So tell us, off the cuff, just top of your head, how many jobs, your business ventures altogether, how many jobs are you offering Haitians right now in the country?
We just have 452 jobs altogether. Obviously not all of them at the moment, because of COVID. We had to kind of we have a factory, and that as a result of COVID, we cannot actually have people working at the factory. So therefore, right now, not all 452 are being currently going, but we do have a good portion, at least half of that, even through COVID, is still going on, and we are certainly very grateful for the Almighty to allow us to even be of service in this time of need.
So 450 jobs to your name,
Amazing.
Which is fantastic, right? Because in a country that is so, I like to refer to almost a job desert. Right. And to provide, and because honestly, when you provide, a job, you're really providing a family income. Right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes that one person is supporting the mom, the dad, the sisters,
exactly.
the brothers,
For every jobs that you create in Haiti, there's at least that's a bare minimum 10 people depend on that job. So
wow.
So if you create a job, that you're supporting at least 10 people.
So that extrapolation then is, you're potentially 4,000 people are being supported by the jobs you're bringing in. And so, by the way, too, well-paying jobs. We're going to get into the details of different companies have, but these are well-paying, above-market jobs that you're providing, right? And that's phenomenal, right? No sweatshop wages here, right? Real wages.
You have to know why you are doing something. And if you're really doing the work, if the work is focusing on breaking the cycle of poverty, you need to really create wealth for people to actually break the cycle of poverty. Because sometimes you could create opportunity and you lock people into that cycle forever. And my thinking is just we need to create job that pays people enough to actually be able to live on and to grow as a human being and progress. So we put a lot of emphasis on the kind of job that we want to create. It has not been easy, but it's doable, and we are doing it. So we are certainly very proud, but at the same time, we don't want to be cocky, thinking that we've done it. So it's a process for us, and every single day, the experience in Haiti even getting us more humble in terms of what we are doing, but also really put it into perspective for us every single day, how blessed we are to be able to actually be of service to others through the work that we do. And I think and I think you would probably share that sentiment as well, knowing the kind of work that you are trying to do in Haiti.
And that's crucial. And I really want to walk through your pathway now. So you were born in Haiti, right? You were
born and raised in Haiti.
Yes. Where in Haiti? Port-au-Prince or somewhere?
No, I am really deep in the bush, my friend. And I'm very, very proud of it. I am the son of a peasant. I was born in the south of Haiti, commune Lekai, but not in the city of Lekai. So I was born in what we call the Andeyo, in Haiti. And my mom had only a third grade education. My dad did not know how to read nor write. And I'm really, and that's the first thing I usually talk, when people, interview me and really ask me about myself. This is the first thing I put forward,
so no silver spoon here. Nah, you came from.
I am very, very,
the majority.
Yes. And I 7, and I went and went to school in Port-au-Prince, did my elementary school and my high school. So when I was about to graduate, elementary school, my mom passed. So I become an orphan. at the age of 11. And so from that point, I went and I made the decision. It's it's either I continue in the path of going to secondary school, or I need to go to a trade school get some kind of like, skills that I can then take care of myself. So at 12 years old, I enrolled a trade school in Haiti, and I become a mechanic. I become a mechanic. But while I was doing that, so I would go to the trade school. The trade school was from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. But after that, I would then take to night school, because I also wanted to make sure, like, I graduate high school and I could actually, like, so I would be like, imagine like, you are 12 years old, and then you're leaving your home at 6 a.m. and then you are getting back there at 10.
At 12 years old. I mean, this is a work ethic of a 25-year-old man or something with a kid. Having to do it.
So at that time, the dollar was, I don't think it was still pegged, because I think they removed the peg in 1994, I believe. But the money was, 150 Haitian dollars, which was like, like, let's say 1,500 goods. You could do a lot of things. So, and I started like, and that's how I got my start. So I was able to not only pay my school, finish, high school. Then by the time I finished high school, I had already started like, 2 small business. And then I sold one of those businesses, to actually like, go to college. And then when my second years in college, I decided how I should maybe like, go study. And that's how like, I end up, using the proceed from one of those businesses to actually come and study in the US. The print shop is the one I sold to actually, and use the proceed to pay for my first year of university here in the US.
Shop. So what, guys? You were printing flyers and different stuff.
Flyers, printing like books. Because what you also like, but now I'm sure you are aware of that. In Haiti, school is a big expense for family. That's the major headache. And then you have to pay for the uniform, you have to pay for the book, you have to pay for the notebook. So what would happen is like, there would be a book, somebody would not be able, the book is too expensive. So you would go to a print shop and then you would print, you would pretty much copy that book. And then you just print it, and you would sell it for cheaper. So we would have like, had people bringing me books and different things to print for them. So I would print it, and that's how like, I was making money.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Even I think I probably did that myself at some point. College notebook was so damn expensive, I tell you.
At that point, I'm just like, man, I need to just go somewhere else.
That's like the resources they provide you. Did they actually provide actual computers to work? I mean, like, because that's one thing I hear as a problem in Haiti for engineers and other STEM sort of domains.
I mean, they had
that material.
Yeah, they had a few labs, but I was really shocked that like, you are teaching people how to program and to code. You would not create a program to just like, even like, easily look who pays and who doesn't pay. You're going back like to a piece of paper and to kind of like, looking at that. It was like, that's certainly, I mean, if you are promoting technology, you are teaching technology, at least you should use technology. You should make it as an example, so that's why, like, I just like, and after like I spent the first year and the second year, I said like, you know what, I need to, I need to look elsewhere. So at first I went to France. Actually, I went to France because I was not very good in English. Because as you probably know, when you go to the school system in Haiti, when you get to French, when you get to the equivalent of 10 grades, I think 10 grades, yeah. So you choose which track that you want to do. So I choose the kind of science track, which is like, focusing heavily on math, on physics, chemistry, and things like that. And then language is the kind of like second tier subjects, so I was never really like, I never focused on the language aspect of my studies, because they were in terms of weight in the exam. So they were, so if you are very good, so basically like, if you score really, really well in your math, physics, and chemistry, it's almost certain that you will pass. because like, even if you do really badly in some other subject because of the weight, so the way less in the overall kind of like, grade. So I wasn't really and I'm very impatient, so I didn't want to go and learn a new language. So obviously, like, French was the kind of like, the easiest place to look into.
Talk about how you got into, because it sounds like you just bought a plane ticket and you're there, but there's a visa process and everything. So how did
you again, like, I think me being an orphan, you have to fend for yourself. That kind of like, give you that sense of independency, so and survival. So the first thing, like, when I start looking, I was just like, oh, France, okay, how do I get? So I start researching. I went to the the French embassy, get information on the schools and how, like, kind of like, educate myself on the whole process, and so then, like, so I went, so through that process, so I understand, like, okay, you have to actually, like, get a school to accept you. So once you have a school to accept you, then you go and you ask for the visa, but you have to prove that you can pay for it, and that's the process. So then, like, that's when I was like, oh, okay, well, I have this asset that I can prove that, I can afford it, because really when I, sold the business, I sold it for quite a bit. So so I was able to really show that, okay, I have the financial resources to really cover the cost of the study. So that's how I went. So I get the visa, get a student visa to go to France. And when I went to France, and I spent about 3 months, and I was so lonely, so I mean, I love France, and I've visited many times after that, but it's for me, it was not a great experience. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's just like I was so far away from the family, and I was alone. There was no support real, in terms of like in having, like, people to support you and friends and things like that. So I kind of felt really, really lonely. And my sister at that time, I have a sister who lived in the US, and said, hey, why don't you try the US? Why don't you try come over? Maybe, you like it better. But I was a bit reluctant at first, because I was like, oh, I have to learn English, to learn a new language, blah, blah, blah. So then, like, but since I was really, having a hard time, like, emotionally, I was having a hard time. Then I make the switch and then switch my visas to a student visa.
Now I'm interested to know, Duquesne, because as I'm listening to your story, you left Kai, came to Port-au-Prince, you lived in Bolos, orphan, and then you were able to travel, go to France and into the States. Now, for the typical person, Haitian, they will probably not be thinking about coming back to Haiti. And so I'm interested in knowing, at that time when you were in France and when you were in school in Long Island, was your end game staying in the States? Was that where your mind was? Or was your end game, getting what I need to get here for education, then going back home? And if that was, what kept you, why were you still interested in going back to Haiti rather than staying outside of the country?
I think that's a great question, man. I never see myself actually staying in the US. And if you talk to my wife, and she will always say, like, she will always tell you that, like, I don't think you ever wanted to be here for, in the first place. So because right now, like, I'm doing this back and forth between New York and Haiti. And of course, that put a bit of stress on the family side of things, because, like, you have a young kid, and you're spending, like, 3 weeks in Haiti, 2 weeks there, and then that's always been, surface in the when we talk, like, I think, like, you never wanted to be here in the US. But I don't know about that. But in my mind, when I came in, I never, I always wanted to actually do things in Haiti, because Haiti has afforded me so much, and I wanted to kind of like give back in some ways. Quasi MBA in policy and diplomacy. So I found that to be, like, the best choice for me at that time. So I applied, And I got in, so, and I went there and I spent 2 years. And after that, I kind of like, after graduating, so I tried like, Wall Street. The money was great, but not the right environment for me because it was very cutthroat. It was very kind of like, backstabbing, and I'm more about collaboration. Then I end up like kind of like leave that and then went to work for the city of New York for the small business solution, which is kind of a one-stop shop.
All right, so that we get that, that because that same thing happened to me for sure at the time when the earthquake happened. I wasn't necessarily at a place where I could move back, but certainly I ramped up my engagement and my highlighting. So you I think did you immediately get on a plane and look to fly back, or was it sort of more of a slower transition to
So prior to that, like while I was doing my master's, so I was sent to Africa. So basically, like, at that time, Goldman Sachs, which is like, one of the most prestigious investment bank in the US, were looking at Africa as the next frontier for their business. And for them to do business there, they needed to make sure, like, they had really sizable business that could pay their fees. So then, like, they started working with the number of school, like, the Ivy League school mostly, to really, like, find businesses in Africa that are of a certain size, but that's not there yet. And then they use those students to really kind of help those business grow and, get better structure and things like that. And then hopefully, like, then those business could become their client in the future. So they partner with a number of different schools, including Columbia University. And then one of those programs were like kind of like, we call it a capstone kind of like, class, where you are actually being paired with a business, and then you do like an entire year kind of like, project with that business. So and that whole year would be then, so you would go and spend like, anywhere between a month to 3 months in the country where the business is located, to really work closely with that entrepreneurs to really kind of like, do whatever the project was about. So then so I took one of those classes, and in 2008, that's how I end up spending like, sometimes in West Africa, particularly Ghana, working with an entrepreneur. And when I was there, so I saw very simple technology that I thought like would be like, really good for Haiti, which is like an efficient cook stoves. I said, hey, like, that would sounds really, really something that Haiti should have, because we know that we had a problem with deforestation, and mainly because like, 95% of Haitian families, they use charcoal as their main cooking fuel. And if we could actually find something that is, would reduce the fuel usage in Haiti, would certainly have a huge impact on the environment and all that. So I thought like, oh, that was an interesting thing. So I started like researching that. And then I start really looking at what happened in Haiti. Were there any similar projects? So I learned that there was kind of like, a number of projects that they tried to do in that sector, but they all failed. So I tried to understand why they failed. And then I said, like, I need to come up with something different. So at that time, like, I said, okay, in the past, like, the project, the way they were doing it, they were just training people to actually make efficient cook stoves. And there was no follow-up, there was no standardized process, there was no kind of control process, there was no customer service attached to it, nothing. So of course, like, people just, you give them money, they would make something, and if there's no money, they would just cut corners. So I said, well, maybe that's what we need to do. We need to do the reverse. We need to centralize, like, production of efficient cook stove, to ensure that the stoves are up to standard and they are tested and they actually work. And then we can decentralize the distribution part of it, So as before, the World Bank had a project for a ratio called I forgot, like, what's the name of the ratio Mirac. Maybe you've heard of it. It's an efficient stove that the World Bank started, a project the World Bank started in mid-90s, but the project failed because they had take the standpoint of decentralized production, meaning like, they would give like, artisan training and equipment to kind of make the stoves, and then they would sell it themselves. But when the raw material, when they stopped giving them the raw material or the stipend, and then they would just
stop making them.
Disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, like, I'll do a different approach. So I would build a factory, a mechanized factory, and we would have like, very good stove that would, I make sure the stove would be tested, and the standard, and we train people and everything. And then we would sell it. So I went in when I came back in 2008, I started working on that. And by 2009, I had already built the factory, get everything in place. I had trained the first 15 people that were supposed to be working at the factory. So I was in Haiti, finished everything. And I think like, I flew in on December 22nd, 2009. We start like, selling stuff. We start like, creating things. Obviously, like, one of the biggest challenge that you have in Haiti, you may thinking like, you are coming, because my whole thing is like, again, like, it's experience, right? So, you learn things in school, right? So, and oftentimes when you learn things in school, particularly at Columbia, you learn, oftentimes that training is really geared toward the society that you are living in. So if you are in the US, they take those case study based on certain things in the US and how the market works in the US, the risk, and then how do you model, how do you like, calculate this, like, how do you do this, what I mean? And then I came with that experience thinking like, oh, well, it's clear to me that you have a problem in Haiti. So you have problem with deforestation and charcoal. There's a market, and then you create a great product. And that product is, if the product is good enough, people would buy it, and that's kind of the mindset. And we went and create like, a stove that cut, charcoal usage by 50%. Meaning like if somebody used to buy a bag of charcoal for let's say $10, with $5 they can cook the same amount of food and much faster. And I was just like, if we do that, then there should be a line into my factory every single morning to come get the stoves, and that wasn't happening. So that was the first lesson. So that was the first lesson that Haiti teach me. It was like, you'd have to be thinking differently. Every market is very different. The fact that you have a great product that solve a problem doesn't mean that you would be overnight success. So that was the first challenge, to figure out exactly why I have a great product that the people really like, but it wasn't moving as quick or as fast.
What tactic are you currently using now to sort of stabilize sales, and how's that going right now as of today? What did you find out?
So the challenge in Haiti is like, it's very difficult to plan for 3 months. Haiti, you have to plan on a daily basis, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and that's kind of like, the second lesson that I learned from Haiti. When I came in, I thought like, I would come, because I told my wife at that time. So I had just gotten married. We gotten married right after the earthquake. And I told my wife, give me 2 years stop. I'm going to go there and I'm going to make like a huge impact. I'm going to change things, and then I'm going to come back full time, and I'm still in Haiti today, so because I was thinking like, oh, I have this great idea, then it shouldn't work. Why shouldn't it work? So, the second thing I quickly learned is just like, is patience. And I got frustrated because when things wasn't happening in the macro level, because there's so many different like, challenges that you have to go through to be able to make anything happen in Haiti, as you know. So you have to create the entire system itself, because there's no system, so you cannot tap into like a distribution network, because there's no distribution that exists. You cannot tap into like, this system, you have to create it yourself. So so the second thing that I quickly learned, you have to be patient. And to be patient and to be able to remain in Haiti, you need to know why you're there. You have to find your own anchor. And that's the second thing that I really quickly learned. Because at that point, at any point in time, like, sometimes like things get so hard there, you ask yourself, you question, why am I here? Why did I get myself? What did I get myself into? And then if you're not really clear on why you're in Haiti and what is the motivation, it's gonna be hard for you to remain. Because if you're the kind of person that is looking to just like make a quick buck, do that like that traditional kind of like you are looking at traditional return on investment. So I invest $10 and I need $20. You could do that much easier if you go to DR, if you go to anywhere else. Because in Haiti everything costs more. The energy you have, because if you need to produce anything, you need energy, and energy is not guaranteed. So you have to guarantee yourself energy, even if when you make all the investment and buying the generator and all of these different things, sometimes there's shortage of the fuel itself. Then you have to be thinking about, okay, now I need to add solar to the investment I made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you think of that, like, if you go to another place where you don't have to do all of that, so your dollar can generate so much more return. So if you're purely, if you're just looking in terms of like return on investment for a traditional investor or a business person, Haiti would be a hard case to make, because you may be making the money, but your expenses also is so much higher. The internet cost, like, the other thing is like, traffic, so you spend 2-3 hours, like, to go like, 2-3 miles. And then if you're looking at in terms of what is the loss of in productivity, it's huge, what I mean? But if you know why you're there, and if you know that, like, it's you are trying to really build something, people often ask me, man, why are you in Haiti? Why, and to the point sometimes, like, they are questioning your motive. Why would you live a comfortable life in the US and go and do these things? Are you either stupid, or is there, if you're not stupid, then there must be like, some ulterior motive. Are you interested in becoming a politician? Are you, there's always questions, like, even in Haiti, even Haitians would ask you questions about, man, why? I mean, you could go and get a job anywhere in the world, and then you choose Haiti, you know what I mean? So, but what I often tell people is that, to me, I found it very hard to tell somebody to clean your house for you, to make it nice before you can live in it.
You have to, you have to be the one.
So,
right?
So if
Not
you,
you,
exactly,
us.
Exactly. Right? Because, oftentimes, particularly with the Haitian diaspora, people always ask me, man, I cannot go because, safety, because electricity, because of that. And I said to people, like, I would never tell you to go or not to go. But the only thing I would tell you, if you think somebody else gonna come and clean your house and make it pretty for you to come and enjoy, you are mistaken. That's never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to do the hard work.
The point where you being one of those folks. So that company is established and doing well. Now you open up a few others, and let's talk about those. Now I know you have a Cetemoh, which is a digital outsourcing center. Talk about a little bit about that. What's the origins there?
We start like selling stuff, we start like creating things. Obviously, like one of the biggest challenge that you have in Haiti, you may thinking like you are coming, because my whole thing is like again, like it's experience, right? So you learn things in school, right? So, and oftentimes when you learn things in school, particularly at Columbia, you learn, oftentimes that training is really geared toward the society that you are living in. So if you are in the US, they take those case study based on certain things in the US and how the market works in the US, the risk, and then how do you model, how do you calculate this, how do you do this, you know what I mean? And then I came with that experience thinking like, oh, well, it's clear to me that you have a problem in Haiti. So you have problem with deforestation and charcoal. There's a market, and then you create a great product. And that product is, if the product is good enough, people would buy it, and that's kind of the mindset. And we went and create a stove that cut, charcoal usage by 50%. Meaning like if somebody used to buy a bag of charcoal for let's say $10, with $5 they can cook the same amount of food and much faster. And I was just like, if we do that, then there should be a line into my factory every single morning to come get the stoves, and that wasn't happening. So that was the first lesson. So that was the first lesson that Haiti teach me. It was like, you'd have to be thinking differently. Every market is very different. The fact that you have a great product that solve a problem doesn't mean that you would be overnight success. So that was the first challenge, to figure out exactly why I have a great product that the people really like, but it wasn't moving as quick or as fast.
What tactic are you currently using now to sort of stabilize sales, and how's that going right now as of today? What did you find out?
So the challenge in Haiti is like, it's very difficult to plan for 3 months. Haiti, you have to plan on a daily basis, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and that's kind of like, the second lesson that I learned from Haiti. When I came in, I thought like, I would come, because I told my wife at that time. So I had just gotten married. We gotten married right after the earthquake. And I told my wife, give me 2 years stop. I'm going to go there and I'm going to make like a huge impact. I'm going to change things, and then I'm going to come back full time, and I'm still in Haiti today, so because I was thinking like, I have this great idea, then it shouldn't work. Why shouldn't it work? So, the second thing I quickly learned is just like, it's patience. And I got frustrated because when things wasn't happening in the macro level, because there's so many different challenges that you have to go through to be able to make anything happen in Haiti, as you know. So you have to create the entire system itself, because there's no system, so you cannot tap into like a distribution network, because there's no distribution that exists. You cannot tap into like, this system, you have to create it yourself. So so the second thing that I quickly learned, you have to be patient. And to be patient and to be able to remain in Haiti, you need to know why you're there. You have to find your own anchor. And that's the second thing that I really quickly learned. Because at any point in time, like, sometimes like things get so hard there, you ask yourself, you question, why am I here? Why did I get myself? What did I get myself into? Mm-hmm. And then if you're not really clear on why you are in Haiti and what is the motivation, it's going to be hard for you to remain. Because if you're the kind of person that is looking to just like, make a quick buck, do that, like, that traditional kind of like, you are looking at traditional return on investment. So, I invest $10 and I need $20. You could do that much easier if you go to DR, if you go to anywhere else, because in Haiti, everything costs more. The energy you have, because if you need to produce anything, you need energy, and energy is not guaranteed. So you have to guarantee yourself energy, even if when you make all the investment and buying the generator and all of these different things, sometimes there's shortage of the fuel itself. Then you have to be thinking about, okay, now I need to add solar to the investment I made. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you think of that, like, if you go to another place where you don't have to do all of that, so your dollar can generate so much more return. So if you're just looking in terms of like return on investment for a traditional investor or a business person, Haiti would be a hard case to make, because you may be making the money, but your expenses also is so much higher. The internet cost, like, the other thing is like, traffic, so you spend 2-3 hours, like, to go like, 2-3 miles. And then if you're looking at in terms of what is the loss of in productivity, it's huge, what I mean? But if you know why you're there, and if you know that, like, you are trying to really build something, people often ask me, man, why are you in Haiti? Why, and to the point sometimes, like, they are questioning your motive. Why would you live a comfortable life in the US and go and do these things? Are you either stupid, or if you're not stupid, then there must be like, some ulterior motive. Are you interested in becoming a politician? Are you, there's always questions, like, even in Haiti, even Haitians would ask you questions about, man, why? I mean, you could go and get a job anywhere in the world, and then you choose Haiti, what I mean? So, but what I often tell people is that, to me, I found it very hard to tell somebody to clean your house for you, to make it nice before you can live in it.
You have to.
You know,
Yeah,
so
you have to be the one.
So,
Right?
so if
Not
you exactly,
not us.
exactly, right? Because oftentimes, particularly with the Haitian diaspora, people always ask me, "Man, I cannot go because safety,
Yeah,
because
he
electricity,
said,
because of that."
that's
And
number one.
I said to people, like, I would never tell you to go or not to go, but the only thing I would tell you, if you think somebody else gonna come and clean your house and make it pretty for you to come and enjoy, you are mistaken. That's never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to do the hard work.
To the point where you being one of those folks. So that company is established and doing well. Now you opened up a few others, and let's talk about those. Now I know you have a Cetemoh, which is a digital outsourcing center. Talk about a little bit about that. What's the origins
actually
there?
Maybe there's an opportunity to use the people from the technical school. We train them on those particular type of work, and then we can then get them job that way. And that's how like the whole thing. So I'm just tying up for you, so that you can see how the course happened. Then I started working with that in 2012, and by February 2013, so we had then kind of took over this with 10 agents, and then we grow it from 10 agents to 150 to today. And it's been really one of the greatest success for me so far, in terms of the impact that I've seen happen, because it's really give me hope that if you invest in young people and you train them right, you give them, you treat them with respect, but you also give them the discipline, the skill set, you treat them as equal, you can change society. Because I've seen it every single day, how those young people are now really great citizens, people who are very thoughtful, who are thinking about the future, who are moving out of poverty. I mean, I can tell you one of my greatest story is that last year, one of the staff that started with us in 2013 had purchased his first home cash. Wow. He purchased his first home, $45,000 USD, man. This young guy has been able to purchase his first home cash. And now that home is producing income, because he's turning that home that he purchased into 2 apartments that he's renting out every single month. So, and this is the kind of thing that give me hopes. When I see things on the macro level are going the other way, it's those kind of little success when you see it on individual, so you can see people's lives changing. And if there's one thing I would say to anybody who's listening who are thinking about Haiti, if you are looking at the macro economic pictures, you would never do anything in Haiti, because there's nothing that's going right now. We have inflation is going through the roof.
Now, Cetemoh, what type of is it back? Is it out? Is it call center or is it back office?
So we do back office. So we specialize in back office. So basically, we started with 10 people. Now we're 152 people. And through that 8 years, I would say almost 8 years, what we end up building an ecosystem, a self-sustaining ecosystem within, it's just we are a little country within a country, because we had to make sure we are able to deliver regardless of what happened in Haiti. One thing that I am a little bit proud of is the fact that I never take Haiti's poverty and sell the poverty of Haiti, and I took that poverty and I sell it as a strength. So when I'm talking to a client, and I always say, hey man, Haiti may have challenges, treat me as any other place. Treat me the same way, with the same expectation you would have if you had contracted with a consulting firm, with another firm in the US or in Canada or anywhere else. Do not go into the mindset that if it's Haiti, then you have to give me special preferences. The reason I do that is to really showcase what we are able to do, despite. And I'd like to say, we are able to do this despite, we are able to succeed despite the lack of energy, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of stability, political stability, economical stability. We are able to do things. So and the way that came about, each time that you face a challenge, and you were asking about challenges, man, think about you are working and you're in that field, so you understand. So the client gives you a job to do. The client doesn't give a damn about what's happening in your country. Doesn't give a damn if the streets are blocked, if the country's in lockdown, if tires are burning every street corner, if there's no electricity, if there's a hurricane. What they need to do is just is delivery on the service. They just need to get whatever they paid for delivered. That's all they care about. So I had to create an infrastructure within that lack of infrastructure to make sure that I can deliver all the time. So in that process, we end up creating the campus one after another. We end up say, okay, when we saw the internet was a problem, so we said we have to invest in building internet infrastructure. So we end up getting the fiber optic line installed. When we realized sometimes you get one line and it's you have issues with that company, you need a backup, so we get a backup. When we get a backup to the backup, so today I have 3 different lines to ensure that I'm online all the time. So I had to install generators, and we had to install, after we installed the generators, as you know, Seejeanty, we had the sometime fuel shortage, so we had to actually build storage capacity. So we had to build a tank. So I always have 2,000 gallons of fuel at any given point of time, there. And then we had solar added on top of that to make sure that electricity is no longer an issue. So then after we build all of that, social unrest, people cannot get to work. Then we said, okay, we build a dormitory within campus. But even then, when we build a dormitory, sometimes people would go home, and then they wake up in the morning, they would be shooting, they would be afraid to leave their home. So we said, how do we get them? We end up buying bulletproof cars to go actually get people from their home in case they are at home and there's problem in the street, we still can then get them to campus. So then when they get them to campus, doing the pay lock, then they had to live in campus. So we had to actually create the whole infrastructure within campus to build, so we had to build how do we keep their entertainment? So we had the soccer field and things like that. We have to build other stuff. Recently, with the coronavirus, we know that, then we end up adding the clinic. So now, today, we have over 100 people living in our campus. We have everything in there. We have, the clinic. We have obviously the dormitory. We have the cafeteria. We have the game room. We have we added chapels for them to do the prayers and things like that. And most recently, we end up adding even a laundromat so that we can do the
Goodness, you have a university campus kind of operation.
Yeah,
That's fantastic, and that's
so
really
we
great.
have exactly. So
investing in that center in the lives of people there. That's great. Now,
we have our own water system. We do our own water system. So we pump our own water. We clean our own water. So we become kind of self-sustaining in a sense. That way, we can tell a client, doesn't matter what happened in Haiti, we can guarantee you that we will be delivering. And that's what we've been able to do. And we are quite grateful in a sense that we've been able to deliver nonstop since we started with 10, and then we have gone through so many challenges, so many different epidemic, chikungunya, we went to Zika. We went to,
now just paint a wide brush in terms of your activities, right? It's a wide brush. I don't have to go into details. So the other ventures you have going on, in addition to the D&E Energy and Cetemoh, just a quick brush. What else are you doing? So folks have
so we so we have the D&E, which is the energy. We have the microgrid. We have the outsourcing business, the Cetemoh outsourcing business, and so we also now we are working on something that, to me, it's another very, very exciting idea, which is a new financial system that we are developing for the people who are extremely poor, that has no means of savings. We are using their own their existing consumption to even doesn't matter how small that consumption is, because if somebody is alive, he has to eat. In Haiti, you know that people have to eat, and they have to go to the market every single day, buy like half a pound of rice to cook, half, onglos l'huile. So then we are using those little kind of like, transaction to create savings, and use those savings to allow people to escape poverty. And that's my latest kind of like, venture that I'm so excited. And this is the one that I became an Ashoka fellow, which is something that I'm very proud of also, because Ashoka Fellowship is a very prestigious kind of like, fellowship. And it's really geared toward like, social entrepreneurs that are trying to really use market-based approach to change like, some of our toughest social issues. So, yeah.
Now, like, what would you advise? Give us a somewhat of a condensed playbook for someone who's looking from America, Haitian American, looking to come back and impact entrepreneurially. Give us that sort of playbook,
Okay.
condensed playbook of how they should go about it from the re-entry into finally getting that business going in operation. How would you share that as a guide?
Yeah, so I would say like the very, very first thing that you need to do, you need to be very clear why you want to go back to Haiti, and and why you want to do something in Haiti. And the reason it's so important is because if your goal is to say, hey, I am going to invest in Haiti so that I can make 10 times, 20 times return on my investment in a relatively like short period of time, that may not, you might be really like be there like, for, you might get disappointed, because, it's tough to get those kind of return in Haiti. So you need to know why. And that's the thing, like, the why is quite important. Are you going there because you really care about Haiti and you really want enable change, and what kind of change and how you want to enable those changes? So that's the very first thing I would say, that you need to do. Once you really know why you wanted to be in Haiti, is really to make sure that like, you really do not go with the expectation that you can do it overnight. Because I think Haiti is a kind of a long-term kind of game. You have to be there for a period of time to start seeing the kind of like, result that you may be seeking, because you have to be able to work with the challenges, and sometimes the system that you're trying to help could be the one that is preventing you, so you have to have that tough skin to be able to deal with things that you would not expect, and challenges that you would not expect, because sometimes the very same people you're trying to help, sometimes they are the one who's make it hard for you. You know what I mean? But if you know your anchor, that's what I always say, find your anchor, something that's gonna like, keep you there, that's the thing. So I would say like, once like, you have that, know that like, it's not going to be, a walk in the park. It's gonna be tough. There would be challenges. And after that, like, it would be like, to really choose something that, that like, you have a lot of knowledge about, because don't go and try to do something where you have to rely mostly on people, because do something where like, you could really rely a lot on your ability and your knowledge to get it going, because you're gonna need to be able to do a lot of things by yourself, because again, like, for cost issue, for deficit of like, know-how, that is very important, that you would go into a sector, that you would know that like, you can actually like, have enough knowledge to get things going, and then like, after that, like, it's really to do the hard work, man. It's really all about like, making the sacrifice, and knowing, and be very, and be very, very careful, like careful in terms of like, don't wash into anything. Make sure that you take the time to do your research, to analyze and to talk to other people, surround yourself with like, other, entrepreneurs that have gone through those experiences that can actually like, share their experience and perhaps like, show you like, shortcuts on how to get, certain things done. Because Haiti, the bureaucracy is so intense and there's so little information. It's really like, a very opaque system. So instead of trying to figure out, everything by yourself, talk to other people who have gone through it, and that can tell you like, the pitfall and the things to avoid, particularly like, getting your business started, and then the tax issues and dealing with like, the government, permits and things like that. They are really tough things because there's a lot of like, it's very opaque, and then there's a lot of corruptions that happen. I do believe that you can still do business the right way in Haiti, but you do need to know exactly how to make it happen. So that would be.
So here's the question I have now, finally, which is, contact of you. How do folks? Because I know you like to be in the background, right? So I'm not sure. Do you have a social media? Do you have a page where if folks want to follow up with a lot of your ventures, or potentially even want to see how they can work with you concerning a new venture, or how to use your ventures you already have to help with their business? How can folks get a hold of you? What's your best contact?
I'm not very present in the social media, so I'm, this is something that perhaps you can teach me in how to be more present, because I know that you are very good at it, but I'm not. But definitely, like, folks can reach out to me, via telephone and via my email, and I'm very open, and I'll certainly, like, if there's anything that I can help anybody who's thinking about doing business in Haiti or doing business in Haiti, I'll do it. And
awesome.
To me,
so
it's not even a matter.
You'll make sure you share that contact with us, the email, right?
Yeah, I will share that contact. You can
be below in the comments of the episode. Listen, I've learned a lot. I felt like I was in a business lecture. I mean, I feel I've gotten an A+ quality exploration of the subject of Haiti, business in Haiti. Well, Mark, how do you feel?
You are too kind, my friend. You are too kind.
Mark, how do you feel?
No, I mean, I've just been sitting here really trying to soak up everything, and it's really interesting, to hear about Duquesne's story. I mean, opening up a factory, all those business ventures. We're talking about, microgrids and all that stuff. I mean, it's no small feat. I've been in Haiti for the past 5 years, and in my short time there, I've seen how many challenges and how long it takes to get to very simple things accomplished. And so, thank you for sharing your experience, and félicitations, great work, brother. And I'm very, very encouraged by your story.
No, man, thank you guys for having me, and always, I'm here, and anything that I can do, I always say, like, if I can, because I would never tell somebody to go to Haiti or not to go to Haiti. It has to be a personal decision. But if you are thinking about going to Haiti, anything that I can do, even like, my experience, I can share with you what I have gone through, what I've learned. I'll be more than happy to do so, because if you come to Haiti and you create one job, it's not one job, it's 10 jobs.
Yes, 10 folks you're impacting. You're absolutely right.
10 folks. And that's one person that you taking from the street that should be like, throwing rocks at you, because, jobs is the most important things, and it's young people who need jobs. And that's one person less that I need to care, that I need to be worried about. Meaning, like, if you can come and you can create 10 jobs, that's 10 people less that I have to think about, like, how we're gonna get that person a job or that person an education. So it's not necessarily about, like, me trying to compete or anything like that. I think, like, I think at this point in Haiti, to me, there's no need for competition, because the country is so wide open. Yep. There's so many people who need jobs. So what we need to do, we need to get the country to a point where then we can compete. Right now, like, what are we competing for? You know what I mean? I just think that I have gone through a lot of different things.
All right. Thanks, Duke. Thank you so much, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm so happy again that we had as our last guest, someone like Duke, who really bring home, what we really feel here on the program is what's going to bring Haiti to out of where it's at, which is folks with that entrepreneur mindset, that mindset of, I'm going to come here, provide the sort of businesses that are going to impact environmentally, impact the job aspect, but also potentially export, right? Because he's exporting ultimately the capital of Haitians through, his outsourcing company, right? And so those are sort of different businesses, not just folks who are coming in. Oh, I got some stuff from China I'm going to try to bring in. That's you can make a quick buck. Sure, that's great, but we're much bigger vision here on Seejeanty and My People IT. And again, Dukes, thank you so much. For folks who made it this far, I want to remind you guys, we are on everything. Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on, you name it, YouTube, Seejeanty. However you're watching this and listening to this right now, make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that follow, hit that subscribe button. This is the last guest of the season. We got a recap episode coming next episode, and then we're gonna be tooling and reworking the series to make it an even cooler, funner season 2. So for folks who've seen us so far, I want to thank you for watching all the episodes. If you haven't watched maybe your first episode, make sure we have 15 other episodes in addition to this one so far. So make sure you go check it out. And guys, until we're back at it again, we'll be back at it again. Peace.